All right, I want to introduce you to our guest, G. Edward Griffin. He is the author of The Creature from Jekyll Island, which is a book you must read. And then Mark Calabria, he is the Director of Financial Regulation Studies at the Cato Institute. Let me go to Edward here for this question. Whenever you go and talk about the Fed, it immediately goes into crazy town talk. It immediately goes to, and then the Rothschilds took a bottle of wine and kept little orphan children in there while they were sacrificing virgins in volcanoes. And you hear this crazy stuff when the truth is scary enough. Where does this come from? Or why do people feel compelled to go down into crazy town when just sticking to these facts alone should petrify people? Or do you believe it is?
I don't know the answer to that. Well, I don't know the answer to that. I do know that what you say is true, although I find it less and less true. I think in the beginning, when I first began to research this, the reliable information on the Fed was pretty hard to find. So all you really had was this kind of garbage to choose from. A lot of speculation, a lot of theory, a lot of fantasy. But now there's quite a bit of hardcore information out there, and I see that less and less of that is in the way. Happy to report that.
Do you think, because remember you're talking to the chief conspiracy theorist on planet Earth, I believe I've been dubbed now, do you believe that this actually kind of works to their advantage? You can just dismiss people. Well, that's crazy. When you say, I want to look at the books of the Fed, I want to know who owns them. Explain to me who is the owner of the Fed, who is issuing all of this debt, who's making all of these decisions or money, and show me your books. They immediately can say, oh really? Yeah, you don't know who owns this, right? Woohoo! You're like, well, no, that one's a fact. Don't you think it works to their advantage? Either of you have thought of that?
I think it very much does. What they're trying to give you the perception is, I mean, it's monetary policy. I mean, we need to have a bunch of PhDs around the table because this is just too complicated for you to understand. Don't worry yourself. Trust us. You know, we'll get it right. We are, you know, we've got the public interest at heart.
How frightened were you when you heard Greenspan in an interview say, there's stuff, these CDOs and everything else that I don't even understand? And I'm like, what?
Well, that's one of the reasons for the secrecy. They are, I think, scared to death that we will figure out that they don't know what they're doing. And the whole show will be up. We will figure out that they don't know how to run an economy, they don't know how to run monetary policy.
Well, I don't think
all the
secret.
No, it's not. They haven't figured out that. They still think they've got us snowed.
Edward, when you look at the Fed, any idea who's getting rich? Do they walk away at the end with piles of money? If we all lose, are they still, they're fine? Who's walking away with this?
I don't see it that way. I think these people already have about as much money as they could possibly spend. They started off with so much wealth that another mansion, another jet, another yacht doesn't make that much difference. I think what these people are doing, Glenn, is they're taking the leverage of this power, this financial power, and they're converting that into political power. Their vision now is much bigger than just making money. Their vision is really in terms of controlling nations and in controlling society and in controlling the world. We've all heard that famous phrase, the New World Order. They use this phrase over and over again. It's their phrase, and they're really serious about it. They're taking the money and they're buying up political leaders, they're buying up media outlets, they're buying up large organizations, influencing labor unions and so forth.
Show me how give me an example of where they're buying up media organizations or labor unions.
Well, all right, here's how it works. You know, the human being is a herd animal. We follow in groups. We follow leaders. And so All that anybody needs to do to control a society is to control the leadership of that society through what these people call the power centers. Those are the large organizations, you know, the things that people belong to, and they have leaders and they follow. They respect their leaders. We're talking about political parties,
Sure.
labor unions,
Got it.
church organizations, the obvious things. So they know that if they can dominate just the heads of these organizations, the half of 1% of the population that is in control of the power centers, they've got the masses in line. And so when you look at the tops of these organizations, they're all in line with the Federal Reserve or the New World Order and that sort of thing.
Okay. It is
not the membership, but the top.
It's the Saul Alinsky principle of organize the organized.